Hello, and welcome to Drunk Hairstory. We are Revolt Hair Studio, and we wanted to have a play on drunk history, but we're going to be drunk and telling you about hair history instead. So we've got a bunch of different topics lined up for you guys. So I'm just going to name us all in order on how you're going to see it on the screen. We have on the top left, Destiny, myself, Alyssa, Jill. Then we have Brandy, Brandon, Emily, and all the way at the bottom we have Brittany. So welcome. If you haven't been to us before, you're very sorry. I'm going to be Derek Waters, if you're familiar with drunk history. And my lovely team is going to give you some drunk hair history. So we're going to start with Brandy. She has 14th century BC hair.
Woo woo.
Take it away, friend. Tell me.
All right. So, wait.
Don't read. You got to off the noggin.
The top of my head?
Yeah.
All right. So they wash their hair with ashes and lizards. Wait, no.
Lizards?
Water, ashes, vine, and egg whites. If you had bugs in your hair, sorry for you. But you had to use vinegar, myrtle berry, broom, and clary.
Myrtle berry.
Sounds like something from Harry Potter.
If you had some tangles, you had to use bacon fat and lizards to get that out.
Well,
Why
what I'm
lizards,
doing
though?
in the morning.
Otherwise, you got some rosewater, cloves, and nutmeg, which just sounds like a cake.
Mm-hmm.
So you were not allowed to show your hair. If you wanted to show your hair, you were either a prostitute or you were really poor.
I guess it goes hand in hand, right?
Otherwise, you kept your hair up and out of the way in either a veil or like Nefertiti, like she always had it covered in a headdress. But here, what they would actually
do they really have like beaded things? Like
yeah. So
you know?
the big thing was beads, ribbons, braids if you like were on the poorer end or you were a prosty. Sorry for y'all, but
Egyptians had prostitutes?
huh?
Egyptians had prostitutes?
Yeah.
Prostitutes are forever.
Really?
I feel like everyone had prostitutes, yeah.
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
Ghosts
I
of
didn't know what
everything.
time they like started. I thought maybe
Always.
you know, in Britain
Long before us.
somewhere.
Let's be honest. Somebody out there is trying to get laid and make money.
Gotta pay your bills.
But is the chick trying to get laid, or is the dude trying to get laid, and the chick is taking advantage of that and
She's
making some dough?
taking advantage.
Okay.
She needs some moolah. She got to pay for all her kids. Because I'm sure back then they didn't have, like, abortions or anything like that. So.
Or unemployment that no one gets.
Or
We still don't have unemployment. So. I'm not telling my parents to watch this.
I'm
Like,
not
who
telling
do you
Mom
work
this
with?
is my idea either.
I'll
So-
take the blame.
Also, blondes were desired. And if you were not blonde, you were supposed to put, like, olive oil and white wine and aluminum foil and sit in the sun and let that
Don't do that during quarantine.
Yeah.
Take note. You are not an Egyptian. Don't try this at home.
If you didn't have access to that, you were supposed to use like saffron and sheep urine and onion skin.
What does that do?
I'm not willing to try it. I don't know.
Try it on a mannequin.
I mean, I don't know what's better, sheep urine and onions in your hair or like bacon fat and lizards. So, yeah. Other than that, they used to keep like picks in their cleavage, either made out of bone or metal, so that if they had bugs, they could like whoop, scratch those suckers out.
Lovely.
And before it was cool to actually wear your hair outside of like a headdress or anything like that. So 13th century, I know this is going back a little further. You were not allowed to wear your hair down. You had to have it up. If you had it down, you were like a prostitute, you were poor, you were whatever. You were getting married because that was a sign of your virginity to your husband. So the only person you were allowed to show your hair to was your husband. After all of that, if you wanted to have glorious hair for all of the braids and the ribbons and the fashion, even though the church said no, oh, but wait, it gets weird. You had to get a wig from a dead person.
Like
Sorry, Grandma.
hair or like already dead wig wearing?
Like a dead person, they would scalp them and you put that on your hair, on your head.
No, thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm good.
I'll pass.
Yeah, I'll totally pass. But yeah, that was 14th century.
Yuck.
Glad
Good times.
we're there. All right, my friend Jill.
All right.
What do you got for us?
Let's talk about Marie Antoinette. Let's do a little. So she was like the last queen before the French Revolution. She was like the queen during like everyone was starving on the streets, and they lived like real lavish and crazy. And she said that all these people were starving. She said, "Let them eat cake." That's like her big famous line. And when I heard that, I was thinking, I think she's a sweet lady. You know, they're starving. Cake's delicious. Shit. But I guess that was pretty offensive for the starving. So I don't know. But she was a real like beauty pioneer. So she was born in Austria. And I actually went to her house that she was born in. And then she got married to Louis XVI, and she lived in Versailles. And so they were absolutely loaded rich.
Drink break.
And so she would wash her face with pigeons stewed in a bucket and borax. She put that on her face. And then I guess if you were like real white, it meant you were really rich because like you could clean your face and you didn't have any diseases or anything. So they did that, and she made her face really white all the time. Come on, talk to me. I don't say something back. Come on, anyone.
So why do they make them white?
Because white equals rich.
Yeah,
'Cause
because they're
they-
like not out in the fields all day. They're like inside.
And they don't have any diseases or rashes.
No rashes.
Yeah. Full of baloney right there.
Didn't she have
So-
rats in her wig?
Well, okay, so I have bullet points here.
Tell us.
So then she washed her face, and then they got really white, and then we can go back to the blush. So for her hair, she was the first person that originated the poof, which like for us, maybe Snooki originated it, but for real life, Marie Antoinette probably did. And so she would make her hair stand up 2 feet tall, and they would put like a structure, like a metal structure and a pillow in it, which is honestly like sometimes we put like little pillows in bridal hair and stuff, so that's still a thing.
I know
Like the
Brandy did that for
bump
her
it.
cousin.
Yeah. Oh
What
my
a
god, your cousin
sweet
was so
do.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
She had 2 different like stuffed cushion things in there.
Yeah, so it's still a base.
What
But
do
then
you
Marie
think?
Antoinette was someone that would like put birds in it or rodents or like anything she put in her hair, and that was like a big fashion statement because she was a glamour girl.
Wait. So you're telling me that she put rodents in it on purpose, not because it was like an old musty wig and they lived in there?
No, she loved them. She found beauty in them.
Did
She
she
called
name
me
them?
before this, and she was like, "I love rodents."
She's like real life Cinderella.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. We lost Brittany.
Ugh.
Steve,
what?
how are you?
You have to let her back in. She just
I'll
sent me
text
a
her.
text. No. She just said, help let me back in.
I don't know how.
Is it locked?
She said she's in the waiting room.
Oh.
Oh, Andrew says, "Is there an accept button?"
Admit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. How did she get lost?
I don't
There
know.
you are.
What did you do?
Don't you run off again.
We lost you.
You're sideways.
You're sideways. Here we go.
Wait. Hey, welcome back, guys.
What happened?
She ran away.
She needed to mix more drink.
I'm sorry.
Thank God you stopped us from talking about Marie Antoinette because I don't have anything else to
We're
say.
talking about rats in the hair. Like for like beauty, like
Oh man.
did the lactate make you do it?
Probably. It was that ice cream, which I think I dropped.
Oh.
Oh.
You guys, I dropped like a whole bag of like family size bag of pretzels on the floor. It was like half of them are gone. I was so sad.
Half your family is pissed at you.
Yeah. So like me.
Uh-oh, we lost
What is she
her.
doing?
We lost her again.
Brittany.
Guys, hold on.
Come back here right now,
gone again.
young lady.
There we go. Whoa, there's a fan.
Drunk Hairstory. Right there.
Who's
We're
Hi.
having technical difficulties.
I'm sorry.
That's the point.
Okay.
Jill, are you done? Are you done telling us about your pineapple head in Marie?
what?
I have one more thing to say.
Pineapple head.
One
Marie
more
Antoinette.
thing to say.
When they would douse their sauce in the white face, they
White
would put on rouge on their lips and their cheeks. But you know how they made that? They crushed
Beetles.
up insects and they mixed it with acid and they put it on there.
But like, what kind of acid are we talking? Are we talking like trippy acid, or are we talking like burn your skin acid?
Google did not.
Probably like burn your skin acid.
Google did not decipher.
Probably like lie.
But this lady was putting
That makes her
borax
cringe.
acid on her face and pigeon juice.
How does she still have good skin?
She got
Probably
thick
didn't.
skin,
I don't know.
yo.
I mean,
Probably
maybe she didn't. I don't know.
Probably was burning her skin off. That's probably like Botox in the early days. Just burn off layers of your skin.
That's what a
Little
chemical peel
throwback.
is.
This sounds like a cartoon.
They used to put lye on pretzels too.
Lie?
Yeah, but apparently, like from the cooking process, it made it not harmful. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to eat that.
I
Lie.
can't say that I would like to eat lie on my pretzels.
No.
I put that down in like the barn for
Huh?
like
What's lie?
lye is a
It's like some
chemical. It's
kind
like a
of
white
acid,
powder,
right?
and you sprinkle it out in the barn for like. We did it for the sheep for like in the summertime. The flies would come and like maggots because of the pee and the poop and the thing, and the hotness would like
the
fester. So you like put lye down to kill it all.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it
I don't-
doesn't sound like something that should be in
I don't want to eat
pretzels.
that. No,
No.
thank you.
Okay.
All right, Marie
I'm done.
I'm
Antoinette
in here.
She was cool. She was like a Kardashian of her age.
with some
Yeah,
rats.
but imagine those bitches right now with no Botox.
I
Laughed.
Like,
I have no Botox right now.
What is it?
Same.
I've never had Botox, but
Sodium
still.
hydroxyzine. Isn't hydroxyzine Zoloft? No, hydroxyzine is that antihistamine. So it's just salt and antihistamine.
Huh?
apparently lye is sodium hydroxyzine, and hydroxyzine is an antihistamine, so lye might be salt and an antihistamine.
Not like salt.
Oh,
Well, Zach, thank you for your knowledge. Smart boy.
and it's what?
It'd be called
Dude, look at how fat
It
my
would be antihistamine salt.
Her
Her
I don't know what
husband
that means.
is an aerospace engineer. He knows things.
He knows
He
all.
knows lots
He
of
knows
things.
things.
It's like random things. Are we ready for my topic? I'm really
Heck
excited
yeah.
for it.
You tell us
Okay.
about barber surgery.
So, barber surgeons, a history of barber surgeons. So it all started way back in 1000 AD in European monasteries. So the monasteries, for religious reasons, needed to have the tops of their head shaved, which was like a really cool haircut. So they had barbers that lived in the monasteries so that they could keep like shaving those heads. Monks actually were the traditional practitioners of medicine and surgery. So when barbers got in there, they realized that the barbers were really good at using their tools and they had all these sharp objects. So they started helping the monks. They started clipping away and helping the monks with the surgeries because they could make those like precise incisions. I have a little outline here. Let me just scroll. So first, they started off with bloodletting, which they believed helped rid the body of diseases. So I guess they just like made incisions in the skin and blood would come out, and they believed that it was like taking out your toxins. So that's what they started out doing, and that was like their main job. But then it kind of grew from there. The monks taught them, and it grew to tooth extractions with no painkillers, by the way, which
Feels
sounds hideous.
Oh.
And they also started to make ointments, and then war broke out, and like everything broke loose. And the physicians at the time were like, "That's gross. I don't want to do that." They thought it was below them, and it was kind of like peasant work. So barbers stepped up to the plate, and they were like, "People need to be stitched up, and we're here, so we might as well use our knowledge and help some people." So they were like, "Trust us, we can do this. We've been practicing, kind of."
We can get a straight
and
line.
kind of. They're like, "Yeah, we know like a tiny bit of surgery."
I've done it
And
on one
so,
person. Let's try it
yeah,
out.
so they're just going out in the wars, stitching up some soldiers. Before you know it, they got pretty good at cutting off limbs and pulling out people's teeth. Let me scroll again. They also had no traditional schooling, so a lot of them learned through assisting another barber. So they didn't really know like the proper terms for everything, but they kind of got a good gist of it from working in the field and learning more about what kills people and what doesn't.
So I wonder if where like master barbers come from, because a master barber these days can, what's the word I'm looking for? They can apprentice. So an apprentice can come to a master barber and then they can take their state board test. They don't need to go to school.
Yeah, and I know you can do that for cosmetology too. So that's kind of what they did back in the day. They like apprenticed somebody who knew a lot more than them and kind of learned from that person. So they definitely like they knew what they were doing. It just wasn't like that traditional way of learning.
So tell me about Sweeney Todd, because I know you want to talk about Sweeney.
Yes, actually, I have a little bit more, if you don't mind, before we get into Sweeney Todd. I kind of wanted to leave that at the end, which it kind of seemed like that was like the whole barber surgeon was the whole inspiration for Sweeney Todd. So they started practicing on soldiers. It was pretty brutal. There was a lot of blood. No pain medications because those weren't invented at the time. But they're getting better at their job. They're out there lancing boils, treating diseases, taking care of soldiers. And at the same time, the physicians that are more like the university people, more kind of focused on teaching people about being healthy through food and diet and exercise. I guess food and diet is the same thing, but you get the point. So they kind of felt that barbers were like real medicine. They were like, you shouldn't do this. You guys should probably stop. You're just butchering people. There's no difference in the science between butchering and surgery. And in 1254, a physician named Bruno de Longobucco came out and was like,
The Longabucco.
guys, you should stop doing this. He was like, I'm Bruno de Longobucco, and I think you should probably stop doing this because you're killing a lot of people, even though you're saving some lives. You're kind of slicing people up over here.
It's like Bruno Mars, but Bruno de Longabucco.
Yeah, exactly.
Both pioneers of their time.
He wrote them songs about how you probably shouldn't cut people up.
I mean, generally,
So physicians were like, this is really risky. I don't think we should be doing this anymore. It's something that physicians kind of took an oath called the Hippocratic Oath, which was made by Hippocrates. And they really focus more on their suitable diet, rest, and exercise, because that definitely cures broken bones.
It's a hard point to argue.
Barber surgeons were like putting bones into place, doing all the dirty, gory work. And at that time, which is now the Renaissance era, it kind of started back in what's known as the Dark Ages or the early Middle Ages. So now we're fast forward 100, 200 years into the Renaissance era. Education on surgery wasn't around in the universities. It was still kind of considered like a lower class thing. It wasn't something that educated people really did. So physicians kind of felt like they were too good for it. So they were like, I'm just going to kick back here, live in a castle with some wealthy person and take care of them. So that was pretty much like what physicians were doing at the time. And then eventually barbers kind of became more recognized for their role in society. They still weren't really like 100% equal, and they weren't really taken as seriously. But as for like the townspeople, you know, usually they called upon a barber surgeon because there were a lot more barber surgeons at the time than actual physicians. And they were usually more affordable too. So they kind of became established that way. And they created their own guild eventually called the United Company of Barber Surgeons, where they performed surgeries, they did dental extractions, they still cut hair and shaved people's faces, and that was like, they did everything basically. So at the same time that they existed, the Royal College of Physicians also existed, and they were kind of like arch enemies. So the physicians kind of believed that barbers weren't educated enough to be doing what they're doing and that they weren't truly helping people. Barbers believed that they were truly helping people and it was a position that needed filled. So eventually, hospitals came to be established. And hospitals kind of sided on the side of physicians. So what barbers did was they opened up their own establishments. And that's when the whole barber pole came to exist. So it was the red and white barbershop pole. So the white was to represent the blood from bloodletting of the napkins, and the red was obviously the blood. So that's how that whole thing came to be. And sweet barber hair tip is that stale urine gives you the best clean hair you could wish for. And you can also use it as clothing detergent in case anyone got desperate in these times.
It's sterile, I've heard.
No.
Yeah. So if you run out of pomade, just put some stale urine up in there. No, don't. Please don't. So then eventually King Charles, I think it was King Charles, that's what I have written. I don't know if that's right. I think it's right. Okay, King Charles, like the 8th, I believe, merged the two guilds between physicians and barbers. He was like, now kiss. And physicians were like, gross. They didn't like that idea. They finally decided that surgery was pretty cool and they wanted to take that on. They felt like they had more education than barbers and they knew what was going on. They knew like the organs and basic anatomy at that point. So they kind of took over surgery. Eventually they made it so that it was illegal for barbers to perform any surgery other than, I think it was like bloodletting. And then, you know, eventually that kind of died out too. So now barbers are more just haircut and a shave, and surgeons do their thing. Oh, and then Sweeney Todd. Okay. So some people, this is the exciting part. So I was really excited researching this, but then I kind of realized, like, at first it seemed totally possible, and then it kind of seemed like it was just made up, which is kind of sad, but also good because then like hundreds of people didn't die. So some people believed that the gruesome history of barber surgeons led to the idea of Sweeney Todd. So Sweeney Todd is a barber in, I think, England, who cuts people's throats and kills them in his basement and then sells them to, or not sells them, I don't know, he probably just gives them to his lover and she cuts them up and makes them into these delicious meat pies. So this guy, Peter Haining, a crime historian, was convinced of Sweeney Todd's existence after researching the reports in the Newgate calendar. And a lot of people think that this was just like an elaborate hoax done by him, and it's not true at all. Like, it kind of sent historians and people who research that stuff on this wild goose chase. And so there's this news report in 1978 that he reported that supposedly read, the two men came into an argument and all of a sudden the barber took from his clothing a razor and slit the throat of the young man, therefore disappearing into the alleys of Hen and Chicken Court and was seen no more. So apparently this murder took place in an alley, and this guy fled and they didn't know who it is. And so later that same year, they say that Sweeney Todd rented a barbershop right next to where that murder took place, right next to the Hen and Chicken Court. And it said that he displayed braided wigs from the rafters, and it was like really eclectic, and he had jars of people's blood sitting around that he had from bloodletting them. He also had jars of teeth from extractions that he had pulled. So it was very clearly kind of inspired by barber surgeons, because that's everything that they would be doing. They'd be doing like the bloodletting and pulling out your teeth with no pain medications. And so some people really believe that he existed, while others believe that it was just an elaborate hoax. Yeah, either way, I mean, it's a pretty good story. It's interesting. I kind of, from my research, gathered that it was probably not true, but still one of my favorite movies to date. So that's pretty much it on barber surgeons. They were pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we used to be doctors today.
Yeah, honestly,
Scary.
they were pretty badass. They stepped up when we needed them, and they didn't really know what they were doing 100%, but they put themselves on the line to help people that were dying. So, I mean, that's awesome.
Legit. So can we have like a toast to barber surgeons right now? Just to like, you know.
Let me get my water because I'm out of
Here we go.
I'm crying.
Bottles. Woo!
Yes.
I don't know how much leftover Long Island goes with rosé, but we'll try.
We'll figure it out.
YOLO.
I was in college once.
All right.
So who's next?
We're going to talk about some perm action.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
I need to learn all I can learn about this.
Hate them.
So, perm started out for us in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It kind of just started off with the idea of using heat on the hair to create curls or waves. in ways that lasted a little bit longer than like wrapping or letting it air dry type of thing, like using more chemicals and heat to get the results desired. The first suggestion of a perm was in 1870 by Marcel Gratteau, which is,
like Marcel curling iron, yeah, buddy.
Our neighbor.
Wait.
Marcel.
That's insane.
Like,
Is it really?
my name's Marcel. You'll never remember me. And I was like, I will remember you.
Yep.
Really.
Yeah, so they started off with that idea of creating longer lasting waves, but just with heated iron. So brings us to today, our curling irons that we use almost daily. So there wasn't really any other developments on it until 1906. An actual wave machine was created with longer lasting results by Charles Nestle in England. So
Nestle, like chocolate Nestle?
it's spelled exactly the same, but I don't think they have any correlation. But yeah, so that machine that he created used water, chemicals, and heat to curl the hair, and that was used until the 1940s about. In the 1920s, there was a beautician from Pittsburgh, actually, named Robert.
Jill Stokes. She's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so he created like our crogonal curling technique, so wrapping from the ends of your hair to the scalp. That was all him.
God bless you.
Nice.
Thanks, Rob. And then the first perm patent was in 1928 by Marjorie Joyner. And she was just playing around in the kitchen with Nestle's design, and she was cooking, I think it's at a pot roast. And
Me too.
this will work a lot better if we curl from the inside out. Like, I guess the heat gets in from the inside out. So she was inspired by a pot roast.
I like pot roast.
I like pot roast too, but I'm not gonna lie, I try to
could go
sear
cook
the
it
outside
right
and
now.
then try to cook the rest of it. But that's me.
Go get your inspiration, Brandy. Come up with something new.
I like something juicy, so you know.
She's all about that juice.
Well, yeah. For those who eat meat, juicy is the best way to go about it. So you like sear
juicy
the
anything,
outside
really.
and then you cook the middle.
I mean, I don't want no dry as shit, so.
Exactly. I just learned that my toaster oven has like roast and bake. I didn't know there was a difference.
Okay, side note, toaster ovens and air fryers are literally the best things like ever.
The air fryer.
But I have a toaster oven that has an air fryer like setting on it.
You have a ninja. I
Me?
just want
No.
pour in my trunk.
No, I have a Breville Smart Air Oven, something, I don't really know. It was on sale, it had air fry, it had all that jazz, so, you know, I'm down.
Down the
I
clown.
like it.
Hell
All right. Where was I?
yeah. Sorry.
Back by the
Sorry.
Sorry. Making yours.
Rose all day took over.
All right. And then, so the 1930s came around, and that kind of introduced our cold wave technique, which is like.
He said sex.
Sex
He
iron.
totally said sex.
Technique. Which is kind of similar to what we do today, so just not using any heat on the hair when you have that chemical perm solution, whatever it may be, on it. So that kind of set the foundation for what we do today. The first cold wave ever took 6 to 8 hours to fully process.
Damn.
Could you imagine
No,
that?
thank you.
Let me
Charging
charge
hourly for that?
$85 an hour for
Girl.
that.
curls are gonna be a couple $100 today. I'm sorry.
Yep.
But that's how they can get it to stay at first with what they were using. So whatever they have to do. But
Thank God for modern technology, though.
I do what you gotta do.
Papa
so then
bless.
lastly, it was 1941 when they developed the thioglycolic acid for perms. They just called it the Thio cold wave, which is the base of what we still use today. That's all I really got on the history.
Ammonia thioglycolate.
Thioglycolate. I remember that from the movie Hair with what's his face?
Zac Efron.
No.
Huh?
Oh, that's Hairspray. Never
Do you guys know who I'm talking about? He's like, huh? No, it's that one that Michael Scott impersonates. He's like, I'm tired. No, never mind.
The Office?
No, it's
Sure it's a movie and not a
Chris
TV show.
something. Chris something. What is his name?
Hemsworth?
Chris Rock.
Chris
Did you guys
Rock.
ever see that movie?
I love Chris Rock. What are you
Yeah,
talking
it's
about?
Hair. It's a movie called Hair, and Chris Rock narrates it. And it's all about like hair, especially like in the African American community.
Wait, are you talking about the movie that had John Travolta in it as like not anything that looks similar?
Hairspray.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
No,
That's what I'm talking
no,
about.
Hairspray is totally different. This is like a documentary.
I
Okay.
already said that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Zach was thinking of Hairspray too. No, this is like a documentary. I don't know. We watched it in beauty school, but it was good.
Interesting. Is it supposed to be me?
Your
think so.
curls, right?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Okay, so then we're gonna rewind a little bit before perms.
So sorry.
Okay. Stop it, I'm ready.
Okay, go. I'm gonna keep drinking. You keep talking.
Okay, words. So, for as long as women have had hair long enough to style, they've always wanted curls or stick straight hair. And typically that's kind of how we are now. You either want really
Right.
straight hair or you want really curly hair. You're never happy with what you have. You always want opposite. It's a pain in the
True
butt.
till today.
Yeah,
Always.
I am loving the natural. So then, depending on your sources, they say the inventors of the curling iron could have been the American Francois Marcel, which I don't know how he's American with a French name, or
Yeah.
the Frenchman and owner Marcel Groutet. Is that how it is? Groutet?
Wait a second.
I said
You
gross.
both had Marcel's in your story?
Wait, yeah. So I have.
I'm back.
But-
Sorry, guys. I've
Wow.
been outside of this for a good 20 minutes. I can only hear you in the middle of Emily's
Yep.
upgrade.
Oh my god.
Trying to figure out how to get back in, and I just did it.
Oh, you did? You're in?
I'm so sorry.
Wow. But your character has been sitting there.
I know, but
Yeah. So we could all see her. She could not see us.
I could only hear you. I had a different screen the whole entire time.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Sorry,
I wish
guys.
I would know
This
that.
is what happens when you try to do drunk history.
I had to upgrade it, and then it was like
In the middle of it?
Yeah, it popped up a
Oh,
thing, and it
nice.
was like, blah blah blah. You have 40 minutes, and then I was like, we're
Oh,
gonna
mine
do
told me we didn't have a time limit anymore.
because I
Something popped
upgraded.
up, but I didn't even read it, to be honest. I was just like, okay.
Maybe that's why
Yeah.
my phone went out of whack.
Yeah, when I was
Yeah,
no.
sure.
No to you, Emily.
Eat
When I
the
did the
nut, Brittany.
whole Sweeney Todd thing, that's pretty much when it kicked me out. And
Oh
I
no. So you missed the whole bit.
I
No,
couldn't-
she heard it.
Oh,
I
that's
couldn't
right.
see anything. I was on a completely different screen. And so I'm back now. Sorry.
Oh, man.
Sorry,
Wow.
guys.
Great.
Okay, we're glad that you're
I'm
back.
Derek Waters. So welcome to Drunk Hairstory.
It wouldn't be right if we didn't have like technical difficulty.
You guys, I'm drunk off like 2 shots. This is so pathetic.
You're what?
I'm drunk off of like 2 shots. I don't know. I didn't measure it, but maybe it's 3. But
Turns
still,
out
a mug?
it's pretty sad.
Well, that's water.
This is water. I'm pretty much done with my alcohol.
I seriously
one
thought
drink and
about
I'm
putting
like-
water inside of a vodka bottle and then like chugging the whole thing, so everybody thought I was
Oh my
like
God.
a superhero.
I'm the opposite.
And then
I'm
I was
like,
like, no, that just
actually-
proves I have a problem.
I'm like, let's put soda in my cup to pretend like I'm still drinking when really I'm already pretty good.
There's like a meme of this girl chugging out of a Tito's bottle, like chugging.
I've seen that.
And the mom was like, "Stop it! This is unacceptable."
Yeah, I'm not trying to die.
See, my family would be really, really upset if I actually did that, so I
would do
decided
that
not
shit to my
to.
parents.
Little does my mom know this whole thing was my idea.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. I love you.
Sorry, Mom.
Can you still slide me into next year, though? That's what I'm waiting for.
Just slap me into next year. Please.
Seriously,
God.
that's all I heard was that my
I'm
mom
so
was gonna
sorry.
slap me into next week. My entire life.
Taking her up on that offer finally.
I'm trying. She's not
Sorry.
having it.
The social distancing is really making it hard.
She can't reach me 45 minutes away.
Ugh, Destiny, you were talking and I cut you off.
I'm so sorry.
Good. I just kept going. Brittany was going already.
Yeah, Brittany, what's up?
I'm talking.
I couldn't see anybody.
I don't even know what's going on right now.
We're gonna rewind again, guys.
Girls.
Take it back.
Brandon's like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Pretty much. You just wait. You just wait until you see Caroline's not on here because her phone is broke. But you just wait until you see what we are posting tomorrow. It's gonna be glorious.
I'm
Brandon is
excited.
the tail end, and he fucking
It's just like, oh God.
Nailed
is.
it.
I love the like pajama like brush toss at the
Wait,
end.
hush, hush, hush.
Don't you tell our face.
No, no.
Oh.
Just a
2
kid.
shots and Emily's giving away every secret ever.
Come on, Emily.
Here you go.
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to figure out what we're talking
Got
about.
eaten by her couch.
I gave away a secret. Okay, I might actually be stuck right now.
Oh
my God.
love
Okay,
it.
I'm back.
Turns out.
This is what drunk history was all about, though. Like, this was drunk history.
This is why I don't.
Hopefully
drink.
nobody
I
throws
can't
up,
handle
though.
it.
Fingers crossed for that one.
Don't judge me for asking my team to drink to the point of drunkenness.
Huh?
I'm at a
What?
wine.
What?
I'm tipsy.
For the viewers, don't hate on me for asking you to be drunk.
It's my job. I had to do it, you know.
This was kind of my fault. I'm not gonna lie. I came up with this idea once I was drunk, so yeah, this is my fault.
It's a pretty great idea. I love it.
I used to love that show.
It's good.
Yeah.
My
That's
special,
it was a good show.
my special favorite is the Ryan Gosling one with Eva Mendes, and they're like the Christmas poem. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
You're gonna have to watch it again.
Okay. It's been a couple of years since
Real
I've watched
nice.
Drunk History, but yeah. But wait, does he?
He's not a Salt Bay. He's asleep in his like, what's that?
A
What's it called?
turban?
Nope.
No.
A
no.
sleep mask?
It's an old Christmas poem like, hey bitches, we're sleeping in our nighties and our headscarves. I don't know how it goes.
Poor Destiny. What were you saying?
Not me.
No, it wasn't even Destiny. It was Brittany.
I finished my
Yeah, Brittany was up. Destiny was done.
Brittany was already gone.
Somehow we skipped over.
Okay, you guys.
Like
I'm
I
gonna
said,
cut out
this
my
was
video
not my
for
idea.
a minute for a bathroom break.
Love how she has a screensaver right now.
She
Do
puts
I?
it on hold. She's
It
like,
says be mindful beauty, but I don't even know.
She's
I didn't
like,
even do
She's
that.
been
Yo.
doing some homework on this quarantine.
she's gonna come out of this
Like,
on
what?
top.
Teach us. Why don't we do a class with Emily teaching us her Instagram internet?
Why don't we make Emily make us?
all a little sign like that?
Emily,
What?
I can
I'm
hear
here.
you.
Wait, okay, I'm gonna mute myself so y'all don't hear me peeing
Don't
because that
have
would be
a
awkward.
accident like that guy.
I love how that's recording.
And mute yourself.
Okay, hold on.
Do it.
But if she doesn't,
But that guy, do you know what I'm talking about? He had a poop
Which guy?
accident on Zoom.
huh? What?
Listen, he he was on a meeting on Zoom and did the same exact thing, like closed himself.
Oh yeah.
And he was
It was like a
pooping.
community meeting, and some
And-
chick is talking, but his microphone is going off while
Yeah.
he's pooping, and
Yeah.
she's laughing the
Yeah.
whole entire time.
That.
I did see that.
We just saved that from happening for a second time.
Yes, but she wasn't pooping. I mean, that we know
But
of.
she might. I heard the toilet seat go down. Zach doesn't put the seat down.
How do you know Zach doesn't put the seat down?
Didn't you hear that?
No.
I did. That was clearly a.
Christian puts the seat down. I don't have that problem. He puts the seat and the lid down, so I don't have to worry about it.
Okay, after Brittany, what happens next?
After
Are you
what?
done? Are you even done? Are you still going?
She just started, but then she was talking about lactate ice cream, and
Lactate.
then
Just go. Just
We're
go.
talking about Marcel
are
and
you lactating?
I don't want any lactation.
Oh God, no more babies. I was talking about Francois Marcel and Marcel Grotto. That guy?
Grotto.
Something
Great
like
guy?
that. The reporters actually suggest that they're the exact same person. That Francois Marcel, the American guy, and then the Frenchman Marcel Grotto are the same guy. There's one Marcel. There's not two.
Double lives.
Double lives, yes.
Wait a second. Are they cousins or brothers or uncles?
The reporters think they're the same person, Jill. Welcome back.
That was just his American name.
But you had that.
Welcome back.
I love
Turns
the
out-
Marcel brothers. Go on.
This
Now.
is not PG, Jill.
So then they're saying that the first curlers appeared in 1872, but they weren't patented until 1905 by Francois Marcel, who is also Marcel Grotto. Just
Who
to be
makes
clear.
the Marcel iron?
Who makes the Marcel curling iron? Yes.
I don't think he makes it, considering
invented
the
it.
time frame. Okay.
He invented the
back.
Marcel.
In fact, I just wanted to point out the fact that Zach does actually put the toilet seat down.
Oh my God. How long
He's
has
a good
you been married?
boy.
Just now to your husband do that? No.
What? I missed that
Wait,
part.
what?
She said.
You mean Andrew doesn't do that?
Andrew definitely has done that since before I even said I do to an engagement ring. He did that.
Christian's always put the seat down.
Yeah, it's just a thing. It's a polite thing to do for your mother.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't trust people
Mother.
who don't put the toilet seat down.
Which should we tell the whole world? And I'll give my mother-in-law a shout out. She texted me that and told me I was so
Oh,
beautiful.
shit.
Glad that I'm hers.
Yeah.
Hey, Jenny.
Sure.
Whose couch are we looking at?
Anyways, Brittany, back to your girls. Let's hear
I'm
it.
here. I'm just gonna hit these hot points before y'all take off again.
This is what happens when we have like a drunk fest.
Drunk Hairstory. You heard it here.
By the
Yeah.
end, like
So listen, metal curling irons first began by being heated over fire. So kind of like our hot presses, if you've ever used them in beauty school, which I did. The second I turned, it's
I
a
was
metal
absent
thing.
that day. I'm so sad.
Was it
Yeah,
What? You didn't
I
have
had
to
to use
do
the
it.
hot comb.
Yes, Jill. They go in the oven. and
You're
they
purifying.
And they
Yeah,
clamp
I
to
used
go
those
on.
before too.
But then, so the first electric irons came out in 59, something like that. But they were really, no, the electric was for everyone before. It was only for the rich people. So then in 1959, then everyone could start buying it because it was more cost effective. And then the 1960s were the styles of the big bouffant hair and the big beehive styles, like
Like
big
Amy
things on top.
Winehouse.
I love how you just
Yes.
like sank down in your chair, like
You gotta get the whole picture. Yeah.
You gotta get all the things. It was like this.
look at my hair, it's up here.
I gotta get through the doorway like this.
But wait, if you went to get your driver's license photo taken, did they go off of the hair of your bouffant and your beehive, or did they go off of like, this is my forehead? Because like back in the
Probably your
1400s,
forehead.
they like plucked their forehead to like get that shit like
Let me
back
just
there.
tell
Slicked
you,
back.
they squashed that plate on my head.
Yeah, so like is Brandon like an inch taller because of like where
No,
his
they squash it on.
They're
Do
like,
they?
So rude. Like, I'm just trying
but
to
have
be
you guys
taller.
seen that bald challenge where they're all like,
yeah, where they put the clip-in bangs in underneath
Oh my
their
God.
bang.
it makes
Do
me
you
wanna
see
die.
that?
I wouldn't put a bald cap on and see how I look. It'd probably be so bad, though. It'd be funny.
My goodness.
Sorry, Brittany.
Please do it.
And post a picture for us.
Please
Yes.
do.
Beautiful. This is my
Yeah, so that's what I have.
Oh,
How are
okay.
we debauchery
Set up
to
with a-
yourself?
Emily's cheating and drinking water.
Listen, I gotta stay healthy. My skin has been so dry. Like, I really don't drink enough water.
Me neither. Oh my god.
Like just
Meredith
this
said,
week,
hell yeah.
or-
I don't think I've had water since we went on quarantine.
Same.
What?
That's so bad.
It's been bad.
Drink your water.
It's been
Water
I'm gonna
doesn't
need,
make you
like,
less
detox.
drunk. Like, just drink it. It's
Huh?
delicious. It's
Maybe you
good
should
for
just
you.
drink Purify.
Just drink Purify. Yeah. Pro tip. Drink
Alright, are you
Purify
ready?
shampoo. No,
Jill.
don't do that.
Yep, she's
You're
back.
not liable if you drink Purify shampoo.
You're gonna have to sign a waiver for that.
Oh, love it.
Results not guaranteed. You might die.
Brandon,
You ready?
I'm sorry you're our last. You
Who
got,
invited
Last
you?
but not least,
Wait, do you have your nose pierced?
yeah, your septum.
Is
Tell
that
me
a
about
filter?
it.
I like it.
Tell me.
I
about
don't think I noticed that when you were
Tell
at work.
me.
Oh no, I don't.
Do you like
Got
stick?
it.
Were you hiding it?
No, I got it literally right the day before they announced the quarantine.
Oh, you're
Nuh-uh.
I love it.
Me too.
I thought it was a filter at first, and I've been looking at it and like, is that real? Is that not? Is that a filter? Like,
at our
For real.
podcast, and I'm
She's
all
real.
like,
good job. I love it.
Oh.
All right, so we're gonna go back even more in time.
Wait, what? What happened? Who called this like time of ages? I don't
turns
know.
out
Time
This
our
is the
second
time where
time.
we go back to front, front to back. We're going back to 1500 BC.
But you should always wipe front to back.
Exactly.
Let's just say that.
No yeasty.
No, you
please.
should go front to back especially if you are a female, because otherwise you got like problems.
Nobody likes that shit.
Wait,
Literally.
what you say? You should
Lot
go
of sensitive stuff down there.
Yeah, you should always go front to back. If you are going back to front, you're bringing shit into your
You
goods.
put poop in your bed.
You got problems.
No, I agree, but
And Destiny's about to like spit out her drink.
no bathroom talk. Jill does not do bathroom talk in public.
Has anybody watched 100 Humans?
I think we talk about
No.
everyone
What
got
is
It's
that.
on Netflix.
Yes, I love
So they talk about people's potty issues and like whether the toilet paper should go over or under, and whether you like
over.
front to back or back to front.
Listen, I just slapped the toilet paper on the thing. I don't know if it's up or down or anything.
I don't trust people that put toilet
no.
paper under. That just like
Wait,
that's just not
It
right.
should always go over.
Exactly.
Coming in for a lesson. Come on, get in here.
Yeah, Andrew.
Andrew, tell
Andrew.
everybody how you feel.
Tell us how you feel about the toilet paper.
Mullet versus mustaches. Go ahead. Can you hear him?
I
No.
can't hear him.
Hold on, I'm making him come up to tell you.
Come
about
on,
that.
man lights.
He told me one time it goes with the toilet paper.
Boy lights.
So Jill
God.
likes to always put the, what are you doing here?
We can't see you.
All right, so Jill always likes to put the toilet paper one wrong in my thing. So I think
Like what?
She always puts the one wrong. She always puts it like so it goes behind the roll. No, it's not in the front.
No.
AKA.
Wait, do you go over or do you go
So
under?
think of it this way. So there's a mullet and a beard. You always want the beard. You want it up
Exactly.
down the front.
Yes, yes,
man.
yes, yes,
That's
yes.
her. She's
Ever since you
always
taught me
wrong.
mullet and beard, I've never gotten it wrong again.
Listen,
Yeah,
That's
you
actually
need
a
the
really good
beard. You
analogy.
don't want the mullet,
No.
and you always wipe front to back.
listen.
You
I
wanna
don't
swipe
care
against the
about the toilet paper. I just put it on and pull it off
No.
and then
I'm
wipe.
So you're probably the one I correct at the salon.
Yeah, it's definitely not me because I know the way.
Yeah.
You go over or nothing.
Yeah, it's over or
Or just get
you
out.
have to jump in the shower. I don't know, but
I don't use
you
you
guys.
Brandon?
Listen,
You don't
I
use toilet
don't
paper?
care what direction the toilet paper goes.
no, you should.
Brandon.
I don't
Alright.
care.
You
All right, listen to
should.
this. Listen
You
to this.
either want to like quick rip it
Listen,
off or you're
Linda.
like,
I'm
"Darn
not
it."
using it right now.
Listen. I'm gonna ruin putting the toilet paper under for you. I saw in Australia they have spiders that hide in that.
The huntsman.
Yeah.
That's the mullet way.
No.
I
That's
really
No,
thought
you
we
go
were
over.
thinking We're talking about my
No,
top.
you get the under.
But what about in Pennsylvania? How's the spider situation here?
We
I don't
you
know.
stop.
Maybe brown recluses.
Brown
somewhere.
recluse.
No.
We do actually.
Recluse is not
okay.
even here.
You guys,
Yeah, it
you want to
is.
hear something
friend
kind of
up there.
scary? So I'm pretty sure wolf spiders are poisonous or venomous or whatever you would consider it. And a couple of years ago, there was a wolf spider literally right outside my window, like this like big web with like this huge spider. And I'm pretty sure it laid eggs, and I was kind of terrified.
Turns out Emily's half wolf spider.
I'm half wolf spider. What?
Spider woman.
For how much time I
Zach
spend in
said wolf
nature,
spiders
I
are
have
bigger
never
than
found
us,
a
so I could
critter
probably just
in
look
my
up by
toilet
them.
paper. So yeah, it goes over.
Exactly.
Brown recluses. Yeah. Well, they're here, but they're in
No,
Florida mostly,
Emily.
right?
Emily, are those your wolf spider babies in my basement then?
Yeah, they're my children. Their names are
Frank,
Wolf,
B,
Frank, John,
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. Yeah,
Beans,
I love that movie.
Puddles,
Muffin,
Muffin.
Muffin.
Their names are dead and gone.
Brittany doesn't mess around.
She doesn't give a shit.
I hate killing spiders. I feel so bad. I just like scoop them up in my little jars.
Outside.
You're disgusting.
Yeah. They're just babies. They can't help it.
Exactly, they're just little babies.
A baby or not, you got 8 legs, you're
They're
dead.
just like, I'm just
Hey,
a little
Brandon,
spider.
did
I
you
just want to live and eat
yet?
some bugs.
Yes.
You did?
No.
What happened to Brandon?
All right, go ahead, Brandon.
Did he tell a story?
No.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
You're totally
Alright.
fine. Okay, I'm going to make it quick. 1500 BC. Ancient Egyptians used henna dye to hide their grays.
They
Obviously,
still do.
They
Uh,
do, 100%.
Hold on, time out.
What?
What is the only color henna makes naturally?
What is black?
Woo!
What?
Got it.
What is?
Come on, bro,
this is
you
like
know
Jeopardy.
this.
Hold on, this is like Jeopardy. What is the only color henna makes? Raise your hand. Go.
You have to answer with what is.
Come on,
We'll start
Brandon, you know this answer. What
I
color
can't
does
know.
it look?
Colors. Isn't it like red and black?
Destiny,
then?
go.
What is blue?
Shh, you're not Destiny.
Ooh.
You're right.
Qualified.
I'm gonna say red.
Red. Brittany.
Black.
That's a color.
Blue black.
I hate Blauk.
Blauk.
What'd you say?
Brandy, go.
Me? Orange red. It's the
Yes.
only thing that ever happens.
Only thing.
Only thing that ever happens
Only
is orange
thing.
red color. And guess what? You want that shit out? You
not
ain't
gonna
gonna have no
happen.
hair.
Good luck, my
So what do you
friend.
mean? What do you mean? What
Your
do you
head will
mean?
be
You gotta,
dry.
you have
What do you
to-
mean? Okay, so if you put henna on black hair, if you see a couple different grays, the only thing you will ever see on those grays is an orange-red tone, which you will never be able to get rid of. And if you try to lighten those colors, that hair will melt, and it will not be good. It will
Metallic salts.
stink. It
That
will
sounds
actually
hideous.
drip metallic salt onto the floor. It will smell. It will be green. And their hair is going to be disgusting. And it will look like something melted. I don't know.
Wait, has anybody here ever done it? Like, has
Yes.
anybody
Yes.
I've
I
done
have.
henna on my skin, but not on my
fallen
hair.
out with like
100%. I have colored somebody who had henna and told me that they did not use henna. And guess what? When I had, I had
Determined it was
like,
a lie.
saran wrap on top of their hair with lightener, and what happened was there is a pool of green that like sits in that saran wrap underneath. Their hair is the most melted, disgusting, like stringy ramen noodle
Okay.
ever.
So
And
when
you
it
That
cannot
makes me
what do you
anxious.
say to them? Like, what do you say? Hey, your hair melted.
Hey, bitch, you
Here
lied.
I
Just
am.
kidding.
Unfortunately, due to our Connect session and you telling me that you had used professional color, unfortunately, Bleach has steered us wrong and told us that that is not what you had used on your color. And unfortunately, this is how I can tell whether you were being completely honest with me or not. However, now I have steam coming off of your hair. I have pieces of your hair that if I pull them, they just snap. They don't have any elasticity to them or not. And it's not a good situation, whether it be that guest or it be me. Neither of us is comfortable.
That's honestly like my worst
Everybody, even though we're
fear.
drunk, like people are like, I use henna. It's nothing. It's plants. It's this.
It's
Is that. I've
not
never
They
ever
think
heard the
that,
hair
but
color.
it,
People truly don't get it. Like, no shit.
No.
That's pretty.
yeah.
Yeah.
So most
Yeah, so-
people think that henna is going to be fine because they consider it plant-based. However, if you try to do that with a lightener, you're going to have a chemical reaction and it is not good whatsoever.
So I've heard of using like alcohol to remove henna. Has anybody ever tried that?
Never tried it.
I have
No,
never
me neither. I've
tried
never
it.
come into like, yeah, I've never gotten
I
to
mean,
that point.
maybe this whole like quarantine is something that like I'll order henna online and try that, but I highly
would be
doubt
interesting,
it is
actually.
going to do. Because you're using, so no matter what you use, whether it be plant-based ingredients or whether you use something that is a chemical, like I could use the most chemical-filled color composite possible. No matter whether it is a plant-based product or it's a chemical-based product, you're still going to have a chemical reaction, because if you even have aloe and you mix it with alcohol 91%, you're still having a chemical reaction. So those two together can still cause problems.
So you're saying if you're making your own hand sanitizer, you need a proper
Mixing
formula.
ratio, yes. So I actually made my own like hand sanitizer. Mixing ratio, you want 91% alcohol, 1 to 2 of aloe to alcohol, because by adding that alcohol to the aloe helps dilute the alcohol, and then by adding anything like a tea tree oil or a lavender oil or anything like that, even though they're technically considered microbial, they're still going to actually help dilute that alcohol with the aloe. So it's still going to cause a chemical reaction, even though those two essential oils are helping the alcohol. So yes, it still causes a chemical reaction. The alcohol is still diluted by aloe. So you still have to be careful.
Thank
Uncool,
you for
man.
that lesson.
Uncool.
Sorry. I mean,
what else do you have to say?
it's not Brittany, it's Brandon.
Brandon, honey.
I love your septum, by the way, my friend.
Yeah, me
Thanks.
too.
Okay, so before they even invented any type of metallic salts, these were true plant-based hennas, and they were black. They used them for black. I don't know how they got black, but they used it to cover their black hair. And then the ancient Romans, very early ancient Rome, found a more permanent dye using lead oxide and calcium hydroxide. But eventually it was discovered that it was very toxic to humans to be mixing.
Turns out lettuce bad.
Turns out.
Wait, really?
Yeah, so they found out that if they fermented leeches in a like steel barrel, I think, for months, they could cover their grays permanently with.
Hold on. Wait.
This is even worse.
Fermenting leeches. Is that what you
Yeah.
just said?
Oh
Talk
God.
about a pioneer organic hair care line.
I wouldn't call it pioneer, but
Pioneer. It was back in the ancient
How
Rome.
desperate are you to cover your grays?
Leeches.
Fermented leeches.
Grab some leeches out of
so
the
would you
lake.
cover your grays if I told you you would get COVID-19?
Yeah.
Can you get COVID from leeches?
I'm pretty sure I have more gray than all of you, and my answer is still no.
Great where? Okay, so
I was kidding, by the way.
He's getting so pissed, by the way. He's like,
Brandon,
You're
come on.
really bad with cutting people
How is your
off. I
shit?
have a problem.
Research.
I just
drunk
want to
hair
finish it
story.
quick, and then you guys can talk. So-
Go-
Want to hear you?
Correct.
Okay, so
I'm
the
gonna
Venetian
crush.
Italians would lay in the sun with a UV activated solution, kind of like sun-in, but I don't think they know exactly what they used to put in their hair. And then for a while, this hair color kind of treatment was completely fine and it worked for everyone until way later in 1863 when Professor William Henry Perkins was trying to formulate a cure for malaria and somehow ended up with mauve hair color.
Oh, love it.
I'm with it.
I love
Permanent
mauve.
mauve hair color. And then August Wilhelm von Hoffmann turned this mauve hair color into what we know now as PPD, the color changing mark.
Oh no.
That's crazy.
Yes. So, way later again, I mean, there's big time gaps here. L'Oreal created the first commercial hair care color line. So they came out with the first color line that they were selling in salons, and then eventually when Jean Harlow made Platinum Blonde a crazy thing, Clairol came out with a at-home lightening system to lighten your hair without lightener. And these are not what you want to use. This was just at the time. History, this is when it came out. Do not use it at home. Do not use Clairol at home. It has changed. And that is the end of my hair history. I pushed through it. I gotta quit.
Sorry
Yay.
for distracting.
Bravo.
Only took 10 minutes, thanks to us.
10.
20.
I had to upgrade this like 100 years ago. I have 40 minutes.
Wait,
Why
so
would you
you're
upgrade it?
drinking what? Gin?
Who is me? Who are you talking to?
Alyssa, sorry. Yeah, Alyssa is drinking.
Vodka? I'll show you.
Vodka with grapefruit and then Polar Springs vodka seltzer. Yeah.
Wait.
Switching. Don't mind me. It's
Okay,
literally, I
good.
don't know if you guys
I
can see it.
love where you are at.
I know you do. What is
Yeah.
everyone drinking? Destiny, go first because you're to my left. What do you have there? Pina colada.
Ooh, that looks good.
The Smirnoff. Okay.
Kind of
Yeah.
jealous.
I'm
Hey.
drinking pineapple.
Just
You're
pineapple.
drinking pineapple.
That cup is actually so cute.
Brandy bought it for her for Christmas.
I love it.
I did.
I
No,
love our
yeah,
Christmases.
Yeah, Christmas.
It's like my
Yeah.
favorite time.
Brandon, what are you drinking?
I
Okay,
had
my
wine,
eyes
but
are